Hey guys, this is the game. I've just set it up so you can have a look at it to kind of help with understanding what's going on and should help when we play. So, yeah, what we're going to be doing is essentially fighting for control of Arrakis by sending units there, moving around, fighting other people, and trying to take control as many colonies as possible. We'll also be sending our units off world if we want to, and trying to influence important characters in the game. So let me just tell you a bit about what we've got, the setup, and each board that's part of the game. So the main action is going to happen on planet Arrakis, which is here. There are 4 regions in the game, which are Eastern Arrakis over here, Western Arrakis, and Southern Arrakis here. Let's see what we've got. So in Eastern Arrakis we have Arrakeen, the Shield Wall, Carthag, and the Imperial Basin. In Western Arrakis we've got Tuano Basin, some Windtrap Fields, Siechtabur, and Biolag Catacombs. And I won't go through all the southern ones, but it's essentially just a load of siege and desert shit. So those are the regions in play and the colonies in them. Let's have a look what we've got on the off-world board. We've got Caladan, Wallach 9, which is the Bene Gesserit homeworld, Gedi Prime, and Chiton Metropolis. Chiton is the Carino home planet. So those are the 2 boards, the Arrakis board and the off-world board, and the different colonies in play. So we've also got the player boards, control tokens, dice, unit cards, player aid, objective cards, and tactic cards. So each player will have those as part of their player board setup. So over here we've got the resources board, which has Solari, coins, water, and spice. These are the only 3 resources in the game. Next to that we've got the worms, the worm dice, and some more objective cards. So next we've got the political board, which also has the round tracker, the Chome influence track, and the marketplace. So the political board features 8 politicians, and in the political step on your turn, you roll a dice and you can try and influence one of them. They all have different numbers, which you need to beat with your roll if you want to get their influence. But if you achieve it, then they provide bonuses such as armies, which can come into play immediately, and other such things as discounts on traveling off world or looking at a player's card or drawing tactic cards and so forth. This is the marketplace where you can buy cards, the round tracker for each round, and the Chome influence track, and I'll explain that in a minute. Over here is a bonus thing which I'm going to put in the game because it's just quite fun, and it's just additional units you can buy if you've got enough money in the purchases step. Spice loan if you need more spice, but obviously affects victory points. So with the Chome influence track, you basically track how much spice you have in your warehouse at any one time, and the more spice you have, so if you're up here or here, gives you bonuses. But currently I've just got 2, and this is because I currently control 2 colonies that produce spice. So I am at number 2 on the Chome track. In regards to colonies, when you control a colony in the game, or when you conquer it, you put one of your player tokens on it. So in this case, I'm Atreides, so there's an Atreides token on it. And when you gain the colony you take the resource. So in this case, the colony produces spice. So I've got spice in my warehouse. Yeah, when you first take control of the colony, so the very beginning of the game, and you haven't conquered it from anyone, you take it from the supply. But if you were battling someone in that colony and you took control of the colony, you'd take the spice from their warehouse instead. You don't do this for water or Solari. Essentially, when you take water and Solari, it's considered spent straight away. So the only thing you need to transfer between people's warehouses when conquering is spice. So that's all the elements in the game. Now I'll run through a turn basically and what you do. So in the game, in the standard game, there's 5 rounds, and in those rounds, we'll each take turns to do these actions in this order, and this makes up a turn. So these actions consist of drawing a tactic card, carrying out actions in colonies, the political objective role, purchases step, movement, battles, support, and gaining income. Let's go through them now. The first action in your turn is to draw a tactic card. This is drawn from the deck. So you'll start with a hand of tactic cards, but the first action of every round is pick up a tactic card. And tactic cards basically just let you do stuff throughout the game. And it doesn't always have to be on your turn, so you could do it random times, but usually gives you advantages in battles, but also to movement or to look at people's tactic cards, do deceptive stuff, and that kind of thing. But yeah, they're useful in battle rolls for sure. So the second action in your turn is to carry out actions in colonies. And here you have a look at the board and have a look if you've got a leader in any of your colonies. So yeah, here I've got Paul Atreides in Tuano Basin and Duncan Idaho in Caladan. So yeah, if the colony has this icon, the little leader icon with the dice next to it, and you've got a leader in it, you can roll a dice, and if you achieve the number, you basically get a benefit. So in this one, it says, if I roll a 4 or above, I can choose another player who loses a Solari. So let's do it. 4. Yeah, so Pete, get rid of your money, man. So that would happen there. And this one here, Duncan Idaho, this one is if I roll a 5 or above, I'd get +1 on my next political roll. So let's see. 3. So haven't achieved that, I'm afraid. So in this step, you can only do this where that icon is basically the leader in the dice one. So for example, if Duncan Idaho is an Arakeen, in this stage, I couldn't roll here because this just provides colony benefits. It doesn't provide the leader roll action. So action 3 of the turn is the political objective roll. So here I'd come over to the political board and I'd choose a political character on the board and try and roll to beat the score that they have to win their influence. In the previous action, if I'd got that benefit from Duncan Idaho's leader ability there, I'd have had a +1 on my roll, but I didn't get it, so I just have to roll like normal. So I choose a character. I'm going to go old Stiggles. So I need to roll a 4 or above, basically, to get his influence. So let's do it. 6, baby! So, yeah, I have basically influenced him. So I put a control token on there, and he then provides fanatical Fremen warriors. So I take these and I'd be able to put them straight onto the board, but I can only put them on the board in a colony I control. So Tuano Basin's looking pretty strong. I've got old Paul Atreides and some fanatical Fremen warriors. Oh yeah. On the political turn, if you wanted to steal an influence from me, so say if Pete was the Harkonnens and he was like, I want Stilgar, he'd have to roll a 5 because he'd have to roll one above the actual score, what it is. So it's 4 to get the score and then 1 to beat me. So yeah, if he rolled 5 on his political roll turn, I'd have to take my token off. He'd put his token there. He'd get the benefit, so then he'd take control of these guys, which would suck. So action 4 in your turn is the purchases step. And this is where you purchase units from your battle deck and pop them. When you've bought them, you put them in your support box. You pay with the money in your treasury. And yeah, so you buy units, put them in your support box, and you leave them there. But what you can also do on your turn in the purchases step, if you want to, is buy a card from the card market. And these cost 1 Solari, 2 Solari, 3 Solari, or you could take a wild one for 1 Solari. And these are tactic cards. And they go straight into your hand if you buy them. You can also buy these units if you want to, and these are just additional units in the game. So in this example, I've decided to purchase units out of my battle deck. I have 3 coins to spend, so I've decided to buy some Fremen allies, Stronghold, and Duke Leto. So I'd buy them for the 3 coins, and then I'd put them in my support box, like so. Now, they'd stay there until the support step in which you bring them onto the board. So once you buy them, they don't go into play straight away unless you had a tactic card or something which said you could do that. So step 5 is the movement phase, and this is where it gets interesting. So yeah, basically you can move your units 1 space, and the movement has to follow these movement lines. If you see on the map, the colonies are connected. So you couldn't move from this colony to this colony, but you could move from this colony to this one or to this one. Yeah, so you can only move 1 space, although ornithopters can move 2 spaces. However, they can't conquer colonies on their own. So yeah, if you moved an ornithopter, you could move it to this colony and then this colony, and it could stay there, but you wouldn't be able to put a control token on it because ornithopters can't conquer colonies. So in this case, you wouldn't conquer this colony and you wouldn't get the resource. But if you, say, had some units here, move the ornithopter 2 spaces from there, and then moved a unit from there, you've got other units there, so you could put a control token on it. In this case, I will leave the ornithopter there, but I will move Paul Atreides 1 space. If I could pick him up. I can't pick him up. To the shield wall, where there is a Harkonnen stronghold there. And I'll Duncan, Idaho, to Getty Prime, where the Baron is. Now, in off-world colonies, you can move to different planets, but it will cost you 1 spice to do so, because you're essentially moving to different planets, because that's Caladan, that's Gede Prime, that's Wallach 9. So basically, they all count as kind of different planets. So yeah, if you wanted to move between these colonies on the off-world board, you'd have to spend a spice. I'm going to do it in this case just to show you. So I'd get rid of a spice. Also, with movement, if you want to move off-world, so if you wanted to move from Arrakis to the off-world board, you basically have to spend 2 spice to do so, because you're basically paying the Spacing Guild to move off-world. But You can only do it from set places on Arrakis, so you can do it from Arrakeen, and you can do it from Carthag or the spaceport here. Basically, you can do it anywhere that has the Highliner icon, this little tube thing. But Arrakeen is always considered to be able to move. See, there's the dots where you can move offload. But yeah, the some tactic cards might allow you to do this as well from another colony, but yeah, you have to be moved from these locations. If you're off world, like I said before, and you want to move between colonies, planets, sorry, you can do that, but it'll cost a spice, and it also costs a spice to move from one of these back to Arrakis. But if you want to move to Arrakis to off world, it's 2 spice, baby. So some colonies have some movement bonuses for certain factions, or if you had a tactic card, you could use it. So in this case, Siege Tabir has the worm rider swirl icon, which for the Fremen faction means that if they could use their worm rider unit to move, instead of their one space there or there, they could move to another worm swirl colony, so they could move to there or to that one if they wanted to. So that's kind of an advantage for them. There's tunnels here, this one. That involves a tactic card to enable you to move to a different tunnel colony, like this one. Or is there another one? I think there's another one somewhere. Maybe not. Yeah, so good to bear that in mind. So now we're down to business in the battle step. So in the battle step, I would now be facing the Harkonnen faction. So whichever player is playing as the Harkonnen faction. So on the shield wall, we've got Paul Atreides versus a stronghold, a Harkonnen stronghold. And in Getty Prime, we've got Duncan Idaho versus the Baron. So, yeah, in the shield wall, you basically first have a look if the colony provides any benefits, which it does in this case to the Harkonnens. So the Harkonnens have a stronghold, but the colony provides +1 to strongholds. So the stronghold would roll the 1 dice, but it would get +2, but it would also get +1 because of the modifier on the colony. So let's roll for the Harkonnens first of all. So the Harkonnens have got 8, so 5 plus the 2 plus the 1, so 8, which is pretty good. Paul Atreides will roll, and he gets 1 dice +2, so he's got to get 6 basically. So he's got a 6. 8 beats 6, so Paul Atreides is dead, and he's moved off the game. So the Harkonnens still control this colony. They should have a colony token on it, a control token. But yeah, if Paul Atreides beat the stronghold would be discarded. Paul Atreides would stay there, and he would keep. He would put a control token on it because he beat them. So the Harkonnens retain control of the shield wall. Let's have a look in Getty Prime. So let's have a look what they've got. Duncan Idaho has rolls 1 dice. He gets +1, and if there were Fremen allies in the colony with him, they'd get +1 on their rolls. But there are not, so he just gets +1 on his roll. The Baron Harkonnen rolls 1 dice, gets +1. But the colony benefit says Harkonnen leaders get +1, so he is a leader. So he gets +2 on his rolls. The other icon here is Mentats get +1. So if there was another unit in this colony and it was a Harkonnen Mentat, that would get +1 to its rolls. So let's see what they get. So let's do Duncan first of all. Oh, so Duncan gets 7 because 6 plus the 1 is 7. It's a decent roll, Duncan. The Baron will get +2, so 7 as well. So it's a draw. Nothing happens here because they drew, so they basically fight again. So Duncan, oh no. Duncan has 2. That's not looking good. Oh no. 8. Duncan's dead. Off the game. So the Harkonnens keep control of Getty Prime. Yeah, there should be Harkonnen control token here. So not a good round for the Atreides at all. So yeah, you really need to think about what units you're moving into other colonies to fight other units, opposing units, because if they've got pretty beefy units with, you know, high dice modifiers or multiple dice, and you've got a low cost unit, you're fucked. So in this case, Duncan moved from Caladan to Getty Prime, died in Getty Prime, but that doesn't mean that you have to remove your token from your control token from Caladan, because you still control it. There's just no one there. So on your movement turn, you could send someone to Caladan because you control this colony. But if someone moved in and spent, moved from Arrakis or from a different planet colony here, they would then take that straight away and you'd lose the control token because there's no one to fight. So I haven't really seen any worms yet. Let's see what happens in a worm battle, shall we? So yeah, certain colonies have like worm threat icons. So the Imperial Basin, if you look here, if it's got this little red worm icon, it means if a battle happens in this colony, a worm will come. So it's fine to move into it if you're just moving in it or through it, it's fine. But if you're in there and then someone moves in and fights you, you have to fight a worm. It's just the way it is. So yeah, this colony is quite unique because it's got the worm threat icon, but it also has a worm devour icon. So if you're in a fight there and all the units die from the worm, so if the worm attacks you and attacks all the units, the colony will be destroyed and you have to replace it with a new colony. If in the movement turn I decided to move these elite infantry Atreides unit in, this would cause a worm to come, but it works like this. So yeah, you'd move a worm token in to show that the worm's going to come, but first you do the battle as normal. So these two are going to fight, and whoever wins the fight then has to fight the worm. So Fade Ralpha has +2. So let's roll for him. 6. And the elite infantry unit can roll 3 dice, but they'll choose the strongest one to fight. So I will roll 3 dice. Oh, like a 6. So I have rolled a 6, but because Fade Ralpha had 4 + 2, he also got a 6. So we essentially draw. So let's do it again. Oh dear. 1 + 2 = 3. And I get to roll 3 dice again. And oh my god, are you kidding me? 3. We've drawn again. Okay, this is a big battle between these guys. Okay, Fade, come on. 6 plus 2, 8. And then, okay, Atreides will roll 6. So their highest is 6. So they get 6. Fade got a 6, but he got 2, so he's got 8. So these guys are dead. Not a good day for the Atreides. Those Harkonnens, man. Right, so Fade is left. He keeps control of the colony. Again, there should be a control token there. So now he would have to fight the worm. So in this case, Fade will roll 1 dice plus 2, and the worm will roll just 1 dice. You always roll the worm dice first, and this sets the score that has to be beaten, essentially. So 2. It's just a small worm. Fade already gets plus 2, so he's fine. But let's see what he would have got. He's got 4. So he's beaten the worm. He's not dead. So the worm is removed. If the worm got, quite a high number, say 5, then Fade would have to roll over 5 to beat it. So yeah, and if you roll below, the worm would eat him. And also, that would mean that everyone in the colony has been eaten by the worm if the worm was left. So the colony would be devoured. There are quite a few tactic cards which give you benefits when fighting a worm, or let you run away from a worm, or can mess up the other player when fighting a worm. So there's quite a few tactic cards to get around that. And also in battles as well, you can use tactic cards. It's usually stated on the tactic card when you can use it. So before, during, or after the battle. So let me have a look. Yeah, if the Atreides had won a battle and they'd killed all the units in the battle, they would have gained a spice. So that would see it says after the battle. If they'd used that card and won the battle, they would have got a spice. But yeah, tactic cards are vital really in battles to kind of give you the upper hand. The next phase is support, and this is where you move the cards that you purchased earlier, which are in your support box, onto the board. So now you can kind of reinforce some of your colonies. So yeah, looking at my support box, the units that I put in there earlier are as follows. I've got Duke Leto, Stronghold, and Fremen Allies. Fremen Allies are quite unique that they can go into any desert colony, doesn't have to be controlled by you already. They could just go into an empty, unoccupied colony and then obviously take control of it, which is pretty cool. But they can only go into desert colonies, so they couldn't go into Eastern Arrakis or Off-World. They could only go in Western or Southern or anything with the desert colony icon. Let's just put these Fremen Allies. Let's stick them down south just to get some colonies down there. Right, stuck them in South Siege Tabir. This is quite good because the colony provides bonuses to Fremen Allies, so they're Fremen Allies. Now I've conquered it. Put control token on it. I gain the spice. Stick it in the warehouse. So they're there. Stick Duke Leto. Now I need to put him in a colony that I control. So it's either going to be Siege South Tabir, Tuano Basin, Arakeen, Caladan, and that's it. So I'm thinking he gives benefits to Ornithopters and Fremen Allies, so I could stick him in Arakeen because this also gives bonuses to ornithopters. So if I got my ornithopter there, it would already get +2. If I put him in Caladan, Caladan bonus benefit is that the Atreides leaders get +1, and he is the OG Atreides leader, so it might be good to put him there. Or I can just start thinking about, putting him in somewhere that I already have to just try and get more presence on the board. I'm going to put him in Caladan because I'm worried that someone's going to take that, especially that sneaky Baron. So he's there. Because I already control it, I wouldn't get the resource. And then my final stronghold, I will stick this. Obviously, I have to stick it into a colony that I already control. And I think I will... Let's fortify Arakeen because this also has bonuses for strongholds. So that's quite good sticking that there. So another good thing to know is that some cards can be played face down. So when you purchase it, you could put it into your support box face down so nobody knows what it is. But the card has to have this written on it. So for example, this is a Reverend Mother and it says here, I can play this face down. But you can't do this with most cards. In fact, the majority of them are played face up. Or if a tactic card says you can do this, then you can do it. But in this case, so if I had that face down in my support box, I could then move it to, one of my colonies, like here or here. And that is a unit that I control. But nobody knows what it is. So, yeah, bit of deception going on there. Now, you can reveal it when you want, or it is generally revealed if someone moves in. So say if a unit moved into here and there was a battle, you'd have to reveal it to fight with it. So that is the support phase. It's basically just moving your units from the support box onto the board. So the last step of your turn is the income phase, where you gain 3 Solari as standard. But then you also gain a Solari per 3 spice tokens that you have in your warehouse. Now, I would have had 3, but I spent 1 to move to Ghetto Prime. So annoyingly, I don't get an extra coin there because of that. So I just get 3, which I can then use in the purchase step on my next turn. Yeah, that's basically all you need to know. I've got a massive player aid with icons on it. So these are like the leader icons which are on the cards. Just tells you what they do. These are on the icons on the battle cards. It's pretty easy. And these are the icons on the colonies and what they do. Yeah, that's it really. And final thing I should probably tell you about scoring. So yeah, it's on the back of the player aid. But yeah, you essentially get victory points per each colony card you control at the end. So yeah, that would be 1 point. That would be 1 point. That would be 1 point. You score for the majority in a region. So obviously it will be different to this, but say if I had 3 colonies in this region, I'd score a point for that. Yeah, just the different regions, majority scores. You get a point if you control all of the spice fields. Political points, so you get a point per political character that you control. Yeah, points per gain VP card. So if I controlled this colony, I'd get a victory point. Or that one. Some tactic cards might give you victory points for doing certain things, and also you have your hidden objectives, which you'll get at the beginning of the game, which just give you stuff to work towards. And yeah, you get a victory point per 3 spice tokens in your warehouse. Water is generally used to break ties, so yeah, the person with the most water tokens will win the tie. Water is also generally used for stuff on tactic cards, so there might be some trade stuff or stuff like that. But you can also use water to travel off world. I need to check the rules on that, but I think it's so if you didn't have enough spice, you could use 2 water tokens to make 1 spice instead. Something like that. I'll check it. But yeah, that's essentially it. It should be fun. It's going to be chaos. Bring it on.
Listen, Gabe!